What's going on, everybody? It is September 21st. How can that even be possible? And it is Thursday, and you guys are listening and watching the Daily AI Show live. So we got part of the crew back today. I'm back, but then I think Carla and Aaron are out today for today's show. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get everybody back for Aloha Friday for tomorrow. But today we do have a fun topic, well-timed topic. This one actually worked out pretty well for us in terms of setting a topic and then new releases and announcements coming out. But today is really all about your AI image tools. Now, go back a couple of months, go back a year almost, and the first one that I ever played with was DALL-E 2, and honestly, it blew me away. And I'll share my screen here in a minute as we get into the conversation, because you have your history. And so I can go back and see those first images that came out of DALL-E 2 that blew me away. And now they look so rudimentary and so not okay. But it's just amazing. And that's, we're talking about like not a year, but that's like last November ish. Somebody mentioned to me, either ChatGPT or DALL-E 2, I can't remember, it was like November 30th. So we're not even at the year mark yet. Then obviously there's tools like Midjourney, which I think a lot of people maybe are familiar with, but you still have to do that in Discord, which is ridiculous. Then there's a whole bunch of other flood of tools that come out. We were just saying this before we went live. There's too many for us to cover today. So what I was hoping to do is just having like maybe a good conversation for all of our, business professionals out there. Like, yeah, you can't tackle the world. So what are some maybe good ones that we can point people to? I have quite a few set up on my screen that I can share. But does anybody want to sort of jump in with maybe their, I don't know, does anybody, without getting to TLDR at the beginning, but does anybody have their like go-to, I use this image tool like literally first every time? Does anybody have a tool like that?
Well, it's definitely Midjourney, only because I'm paying for it too, and because I know how it works. And I've said it in, the Discord thing was so annoying. I had to watch a YouTube video just how to set up Discord. But the good thing is you can create your own channel, and then you don't have to worry about all the everybody else's stuff. Once I got past that, it was much more user friendly. But I am struggling though, and it is the best quality. Of course, it's not doing text yet. It's probably going to be doing text pretty soon. But I'm struggling with actually directing it. Like I can't get exactly what I want. It's like it kind of gets there, and I was like, that's good enough. Now, so if you're just looking for generic images for your PowerPoint, which is what I use it for mostly, it's good. Like I want to, robot teaching a little kid how to use a computer in the style of Pixar. Easy, and I got that. But more, it starts to really get a little bit harder when you're trying to direct it. So that's one of my biggest challenges. I love Midjourney.
I agree. I think Midjourney can be simplistic, but it also could turn into a really advanced tool. I would say the same, as much as I love their UI or UX experience with Leonardo. Also, lots of knobs, dials. It's sort of like Open Playground versus ChatGPT. ChatGPT is meant to be very easy and smooth and conversational and stuff. And you get to the OpenAI Playground, all of a sudden there's like temperature and variance and controls and knobs and things you can do that the typical user perhaps doesn't want to deal with. So some of these tools now that we're seeing coming out, or I would say embedded tools, like for instance, I could share my screen and show Google Slides, like you were just talking about, Robert. It's embedded. Canva, big deal. Canva is always one to watch because they're always coming out with new and better stuff. Adobe Firefly, which surprisingly came out and didn't cost $99 a month. They made it free to people. I mean,
but they're raising prices on the Adobe suite.
Well, no doubt. Adobe priced me out about 2 years ago from Photoshop and After Effects and all the things I used to use, and it just got too expensive unless the company was going to cover it. So yes, I think some of those tools are the ones I think people are more likely to use, because to your point, Robert, I think some of these use cases, and maybe that's a good starting point too, is what are the use cases for the general business population, the people who are watching the show, who are trying to learn something. Like, what are the tools that they're going to want to use that are like easy? Because if you have to twist and poke a whole bunch of knobs and dials and stuff, it starts to become no better than the alternative of maybe just going to find an Unsplash or something like that, that a simple search will get you a keyword, will get you a quick photo. It's not copyrighted, and boom, you plopped it into a deck or something. So Andy, Jimmy, Beth, what do you guys think?
I think slide generation I think images for slide generation is huge. It's also what Gamma does, right? Gamma will write your slides and generate the images. I think that's where it's coming. We're all like, we've all seen the video with Microsoft, and at some point that may be something that people have access to. I'm not sure it's worth $30 for, I mean, you get more than that, I guess, actually, with your slide generation. I don't think Duet is worth it right now. I don't think that's a thing that for Google. I've heard from people who have access to Microsoft's that it's better. But I'm also a Midjourney person. But what I want is a little different from an AI. I don't want to control it. Like I don't want it to go completely off, but I prompt in a way that is ambiguous intentionally so that there's some surprise.
Yeah.
I like to
you
add
share
to
some of
that
your stuff.
creative intention that you're talking about, the artistic illustration that's got some novelty to it. That's the technology called diffusion, which takes an image and then injects noise into the image to create something new out of it, and then filters that noise out and kind of refines it to something else. So stable diffusion, nobody's mentioned that yet, but that's the open source version of these kinds of image generators. And it uses that diffusion model to do that. I also just throw in, just because I'm a technoid, that most of these image generators use a technology called GAN, for generative adversarial networks. They have one deep neural network that starts out just throwing garbage up on the wall, but the other one is a discriminator, and it has received your prompt and is saying, okay, I'm going to test whatever this other network is showing me and figure out whether it's matching that prompt or not. And it goes through that iteration a zillion times, and then it delivers your image to you. So that's the way those deep neural networks work together in that process. Back to the use cases, I have never had any artistic capability or had many uses for illustrations, for slides or whatever. I'm really kind of text oriented myself. But where I do use image generation in AI is for diagramming workflows. And there are some plugins for ChatGPT that do image generation so that you can add an image that's actually more than just a picture. It is a faithful reproduction of the steps of a process. And so that requires, in some cases, something like the code interpreter version of ChatGPT in order to deliver that kind of reasoning around a process. But then the Show Me plugin, or now I think more natively, some other tools may make it possible for you to create an information flow diagram or a transaction diagram. And I've done that in rudimentary form months ago as I was working on product requirements documents. So that's another use case that's not about the art side of things.
Are you trying to set up our next topic? It sounds like you're really setting it up. Like you're like, I mean, all of us are chomping at the bit to say DALL-E 3.
Yeah, right.
So everything you just
no, because DALL-E 3 is out.
Yeah, well, is it? I haven't actually checked to see if I actually have access to it yet, but I'll have to do that later.
Not yet.
Okay, so if those who don't know, obviously everybody knows who's listening to this, but DALL-E is going to do everything you said. You don't have to use the plugins anymore. You'll be able to go right side ChatGPT and generate an image. So that's fun. And according to the release, they say it can do text, hopefully better than some of the others.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it here, right? It's adding text into a bubble of like a cartoon.
I think the most exciting thing for me with DALL-E 3 is the ChatGPT natively integrated.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I can just start brainstorming. You know, I can just go on that creative rant. It's like, oh, I want to see this. Oh, tell me about this. And that little video that they released talking about, hey, let's can you make me a story around this guy? Why don't you describe the elements of this guy? And I'm just like, yes, I can do free flowing thought process, and my my iterations or my ideation I can just keep going all within that conversation screen. Whereas Midjourney, which is what me and mine have been using, is it really becomes very mechanical. It's like do X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
All right, now X, Y, and Z plus 1, X, Y, and Z plus 2, and that kind of thing. But that I think sort of hampers the creative flow. If I can just type out my ideas or all of our ideas, and we can just collaborate on it and just keep on going, that I think it's going to be far more boon to the creatives. So from that angle, anyways.
I agree, Jimmy. And if I could, I'd really love to have you, Brian, go through some of what you talked about prior to the show,
Sure.
with the different things. But can I do one thing and present one thing before you do? Because I think this is fun, because this is one thing you're not going to present. So this is actually, I was doing it while we started Chrome tab. No, that's not it. Oh gosh, see, I talked too soon. So many tabs. Oh gosh.
Yeah, terrible.
Where is
I just want to give it a shout out.
It is.
There, look at that. That's beautiful.
So this is from Ideogram, and if you can see there, the Daily AI Show text, artificial intelligent theme, crazy computer font characters, typography. So
Nice.
this is pretty cool. It generated a logo as we started the show. I was working on this. So this is quite cool.
A point about Ideogram is it was the first, and it was a fairly recent launch, right? I mean, we saw this, I think, within the last 30 days or so. It kind of hit the screens. And what it had done is it had trained a generator to be able to faithfully reproduce your prompt addition of text. So if you said, look, I want to have these words on the screen, then Ideogram did that in a way that Midjourney and Stable Diffusion and others, couldn't really do very well. You could possibly squeeze in into the art a word, but it wasn't trained to do that particularly well. Now, Ideogram did that, and I'm sure DALL-E 3 does it really well. As I saw a number of instances as you were scrolling, it showed the text. And this is a really important capability, because if you're going to do something that's a combination of art and messaging, Ideogram is your go-to right now, and DALL-E 3 is probably going to be catching up on that word inclusion in the image much sooner than we expected.
So impressive. I mean, it really combines. It's really pulling in the font kind of element in a way that the others didn't do. I like this. I was a graphic artist before AI. That's pretty funny, or tragic, either way you want to do it. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Your turn.
No, I'll share the. Let me pull back up the screen. I'll share what. I'll have to do the whole screen so we can go through all the tabs. Here we go. One thing I wanted to point out, that this is what stood out to me actually the whole time. And it's right here. If you like a particular image, but it's not quite right, you can ask ChatGPT to make tweaks with just a few words. We don't have that right now.
No, we don't have that.
Like probably that is
So
one of the top things that is asked for. If you do a Midjourney, you can't tweak what was already created. You can tweak your prompt and try again, but it could wholesale go a different direction for you.
Zoom out. But
you can expand, you can add to it.
But if I said change her hair to red or change her hair to brown, it won't do it, right?
Yeah. In a conversational chat GPT format.
Right.
Yeah. Not in a conversational chat format, but if you generate on seed, you can do that in Midjourney. This is maybe going to make that not needed for other people. But if you set your seed, then you're using the same diffusion pattern each time, which lets you tweak a little bit.
You're talking over my head, Beth.
Yeah, you just went over my head. I kind of know what a seed is. I've seen people use it on videos, but do you want to explain that?
Line between power user and
You just passed it.
Can you break that down real quick, Beth, just before we move on?
Sure. So in Midjourney, you can set your parameters, things like aspect ratio, right? And the style level. You can also set your seed, and your seed, I don't remember the maximum number of digits, but it's whatever you want, right? So your seed could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then if you say seed, right, dash seed, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's always using that seed number.
And what
So
is seed? What is seed
I
reference? Like, what does that represent?
I mentioned earlier about generative adversarial networks. The generator network, not the discriminator, but the one that's going to do that, does this sort of throw it at the wall process by inserting random numbers. But what the seed is you can start with the same random number, right? You can pick a number and put it in as your starting point, and then this back propagation from the discriminator into that one, just it always starts at the same point. So it gives you a platform rather than always starting at random. So it actually helps the two networks arrive at that. And that I may be totally mushing that up from the standpoint of somebody who's truly an AI engineer. But
No,
seed.
I think it's good. So the seed means what gets thrown at the wall. That first pass that gets thrown at the wall is identical each time.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So what we'll do is here, I'll move DALL-E down to the end here, and let's just kind of run through some of these different options now. And I'll tell you whether these are paid for the audience, whether these are, did I pay something for this or this is free? All right. Up first is just an untitled Google presentation, slide presentation. I did not pay for anything here. I think this is still part of me getting maybe beta access early on. It's been months now to some Google features that we're just now hearing about in the news. But quite frankly, Google has been helping me with my emails and doing this stuff for going on probably 3-4 months. And I just think it was probably an early beta access or something like that I had. I have a problem with signing up with way too many early access emails, and sometimes they work out in my favor, like the Claude API apparently. So this is, I use the same prompt across all of them, and it's just a large football stadium at sunset. And what I was saying to the crew before we started was, this one seems to be football, like American football, but for any of our audiences, obviously that could have meant soccer. And I found it funny as we go through these, like the different art, or the image displayers, like weren't quite sure which way to go. And in some cases they went both ways. They just threw it all on the field. And I thought it was pretty funny. So this is, I think, the best of the four, but we can kind of just, get an idea here. If I just kind of click through here, this is what we had. So, and here's the other thing too, for a slide deck, for something that's probably going to be about this big, or maybe over here, or maybe I'm going to crop out or something like that, it's fine. It's actually pretty cool. If I'm just trying to complement what's on a slide, this is a great way to do that. Actually,
we have to turn something on in order to enable this functionality. Like,
say again.
Did you have to turn something on in order to enable this functionality? Did you have to go into extensions or tools?
It just shows up for me, but I think it's because Google gave me access to their generative AI sort of suite. I think it's the same thing that's locked in with the emails. I will try to track that down after I'm done sharing my screen, just to get the right name for it. Because the thing is, I don't know what it's called.
I think it's joining the Trusted Tester program.
Okay.
Because I have access to.
I have access to, but it's not in my work account. It's only my personal. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not available not available for Google Apps workspaces yet. It's only available in individual accounts.
Okay. It's annoying because I have to, if I use this now, I just threw on Sketch just to get some different, also not bad. I mean, literally looks like, well, I couldn't even crayon draw that. So I'm not going to say it looks like something I can draw. It's still better than anything I can do, but it's pretty cool. It looks like something my daughter's capable of doing that. She's pretty talented. So I think, look, for what it is, I think it's actually pretty cool. And I have had to do the exact same thing you're talking about, Andy, is like, it's not available in my work for scaled. So I'll go create it over here and drag it over to the work one, or copy and paste it. Okay. Next up is, what is next up? Canva. Canva also can't count Canva out. Wow. That's hard to say.
It's alliteration.
A large football stadium at sunset. Let's see. We had some styles. We had none, which is what I did. We had some watercolors, some photo. I guess we could have probably tried photo maybe and then create again. But anyway, before I do that, this was the none Football, because it looks like I'm seeing maybe some
Soccer.
uprights there. Can't really tell there. It's all right. They're all right. They're all right. Let's just create
It looks more
again.
realistic than the last one.
It does look better. I agree with you. Again, for Canva, for throwing up a prompt or throwing up a like this is just an Instagram square 1x1, you know. Let's see if it's still working hard over here. Okay, and this was what did I say? Photoreal? Oh, I don't know about photoreal.
Yeah.
Not photoreal. But again, I'm not asking for a picture of a dog. I'm asking for a picture of a stadium. But it's fine. You know, I mean, I think if I was gonna do this right here and then throw some nice fancy, you know, Canva makes it so easy to throw some text over here, and I'm gonna do this stuff right here, you know, and do maybe one of these deals. I mean, so quickly I'm able to get to something that could look really, really good for like an Instagram post, a LinkedIn post, you know, whatever. Maybe I throw in the main areas. Maybe I'm telling a story about soccer or football. And so this is a fantastic way to do that. Yep. This does not need to be a photorealistic photo for this still to be super, super effective. So love Canva. And I would definitely say keep up with them because they are always coming up with new stuff. They're pretty awesome. Okay, on to Adobe. Oh, by the way, I do have a Canva account, but I do not have, you can see, I do not have a Canva Pro account. So I was able to use at least this part of it free. I don't know if it would have given me a few and then told me to like, nope, you don't get any more. That's my feeling. Usually Canva is cool with like 1 or 2s. And then if you get beyond that, they want you to pay some more premium options. But I didn't have to pay for this. So, you know, if you want to try to use this, you certainly can. You just need a Canva account. Adobe Firefly, I had to sign in, but I didn't have to pay anything for it. Same thing, a large football stadium at sunset. These are a little bit more stylistic, but again, could be with what I picked. So styles, there's like lots of different styles. We can do effects, techniques, movement, steampunk, all this kind of stuff. So lots of different ideas here. Let's see what popular is. Digital art, layered paper. We got some more options down here too with lighting and things like that, studio lighting. I won't get into all of that, but Adobe Firefly is definitely one to watch out for. You know, Adobe's always putting out quality stuff. I think they have a lot of competition on their hands, but they always usually put out quality stuff. But again, in this particular case, more or less just that, not sort of like drawn. There's nothing really photorealistic about it. I'm just in Firefly, so I would have to, like, the downside of this is now I have to get this photo, right? I have to like more options. I have to download it or copy the image and then move it over to somewhere else. So sort of annoying there, because if I'm doing slides, obviously it'd just be easier if it's wherever I am. So Canva, if I'm creating there, Google Slides there. This is Leonardo. Now, Leonardo, I will say, does better with characters or people than it does with these kind of things, but kind of a different style. I threw 2 different ones on there. This was the first one, and this was like their photo reel. Definitely some weird things going on with their roofing and yeah, not sure what kind of, yeah, if I go over that, not sure what kind of field we have going here. Got some circles down, got some lines. Not even sure what that would be. Not bad. This one's weird. It's like just facing the outside, doesn't have an inside to the stadium. Apparently, it's just everybody faces the walkway. Yeah, some of these aren't bad. I think again, you know, with Leonardo, you really gotta like the alchemy and the prompt and the photo reel. You really have to sort of play around here. And usually with Leonardo, what you're gonna do is like start back at like here, and then find something that looks similar to what you're looking for, and then use that prompt. That's really going to be one of your best ways.
Let's be quite candid. We're quite honest here. Like what you asked it is very complex. I mean, doing a picture of a person, this is all like one dimensional, and you're just looking at a woman with blurry background and pink pants. But what you asked it for was it was kind of hard, honestly. And I think it's all this other stuff seems very. I know it's very impressive looking, all these pictures, but I think a stadium is quite harder than what you're seeing here. Yeah,
no, it's a solid point. I mean, obviously, this kind of photo is what I think about for Leonardo that they're really good at is making things that look pretty close to photo real. Yeah, I mean, they really do produce some amazing results in Leonardo. So if you're looking for those kind of things, their 3D animation style is fantastic. My daughter and I have created all sorts of art. Like, I mean, this kind of stuff, if you're trying to make like visuals, or if you're doing a you know, a slideshow and you need this kind of stuff with some characters, it's phenomenal. It really is. I mean, and you can see like even here where it's, you know, giving you different like poses.
What's the
and
prompt
things
for
like
that? What's the prompt that gives it like all these iterations? It says
that, whatever this is.
Uh,
Light
it's a-
skin, then
It's a character. It's a character set,
so
right?
yeah.
So it's
It must be like an option, like a type of option of an output.
yeah, I
They
don't see it
give
in the
a
negative
prompt.
prompt either.
no.
Um,
It's a like it's something that animators do when they're creating a character. So it's a character set. So it's like a known industry thing, and
Yeah, I
you're
just don't see
looking
it in the
for
prompt.
multiple.
It's like a formatting or layout term.
I'm just curious how to replicate that because I don't see it in the prompt or in the options, but it's interesting.
Okay, so just real quick, because I know we're running out of time, and I know the people have shared stuff. Leonardo does cost money. You can do some stuff for free, but then it definitely costs money. So, but I think you get what you pay for. And there's some, obviously, you can see here, there's some really, really talented stuff in Leonardo. It's definitely probably my favorite. DALL-E 2. Let's just look. This is DALL-E 2. This is the original, and this is what I got. And it's not even in the same. It's not even in the same. Universe as some of the other ones. What I find interesting is you go back down here to like some of these original, like this one actually isn't that bad, but this was like some of the original stuff coming out of DALL-E 2 that my daughter and I played with a year ago, you know, and it just looks so rudimentary now compared to like some of the stuff that's coming out and it's just baked into other products. And then last but not least, this is Midjourney. Again, didn't do any edits or anything like that. There's no comparison to me. If you really need a good photo for that type of prompt, all four of these are better than anything else in my mind, and it came out of any of the other ones. This one alone
pattern,
oh my god, this one and this one, and of course we could have upscaled, we could have expanded, we could have done 1,000 things in Midjourney from there. But just, you know, look, really interesting. Now, Midjourney is a little complicated. You do have to sign up. There's tons of how-tos on online on how to set up a Discord and do all that. If you don't even know what a Discord is, don't worry. I didn't either. I had to kind of get caught up really fast, but it's not that hard to set up. Matt Wolf has videos from almost probably 7 months ago now that tell you exactly how to do it. That's what I followed. It wasn't a big deal. But that's how you can get into Midjourney until they create their own website. It does also cost money at a certain point. So it's not free, but again, you can see the results. So it depends on what you care about. So I think you have options here, right? I mean, if you're a business user, listen, and you got to create some quick slides, maybe a tool like beautiful.ai, or maybe some of these other ones that are just going to create all the slides for you are great. As you know, I would say 85% of what I need in the slide deck, that will totally satisfy my need. And it's baked in and it's super easy to use, especially like the Canva one and the Google one for when that becomes widely used. If you want something decidedly better looking, I think you're going to start to move towards tools that probably have a little, you're going to have a little skin in the game. Maybe Adobe Firefly would be the exception to that, because that is free right now. And I do think there's some higher end options in the Firefly. So that's a couple of them. I know we're sort of running short on time, but do you guys have other tools that you guys are using outside of that? We did what is it called? Indeed. What was the one with the words?
Ideogram.
Ideogram. That one's cool. I haven't messed with that one. Are there any other like, you know, image tools that you guys are using on the daily, or do you think people should know about?
So I use Midjourney, but if you go in through the Midjourney app, right? So you're looking at all of the images on the website, and you go to open in Discord. It actually opens Discord in your browser, and that's how I use it, because then I have browser plugins that like copy prompts or copy the image link or do various things that make my experience in Midjourney nicer. So you're still in Discord, like you still have to do the / and imagine and do the thing, but I don't have to go and open Discord anymore.
And they're still working on getting their website going, right? That's like one of their major features. Yeah.
Maybe before DALL-E 3 is like completely embedded inside of ChatGPT and nobody
cares. Right.
That's what I'm waiting for. They're going to be like surprised, and everybody's going to be like, "We don't care. We're over here now."
Yeah.
So Junmi, I'm waiting for your not too short TLDR about all this, because you're the media guy and you've been working with this in the world of media. So tell us.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just wrap it up into a TLDR then.
We can go. We can go over. I don't care. This is a good topic. Go for it.
Yeah. Don't make it short.
Right. Okay. So media side, creative side, like I said before, most exciting thing is having a chat-based interface for ideation, character creation, image creation. That will be the number one thing for me, anyways. That will improve my output. Right, just going through the storyboarding and the story creation process. That's what I'm looking most forward to. In terms of the actual tools that I'm currently using, it's Midjourney all the way. I agree with Beth, and you know what we've seen, Brian, what you put up before. It's, for me, it's by far the number one tool, and that could just be because it's so popular. They've been able to move so quickly on it and given us those additional features, plus the output that I've seen from creatives who have those skill sets and apply that all translates in Midjourney. I haven't seen it so much translate in other tools and things like that. So from the creative side, they're still number one. I'm really, really excited to see how that might translate to DALL-E 3 and ChatGPT. So it becomes more of a workflow versus, quality kind of thing. And that's what I'm most forward looking to.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. DALL-E 3 looks, well, we've said this a lot. It looks like it could be a game changer. And I was curious about that, like what OpenAI was going to be following up with, or whether they were going to do anything in that area or not, or they were going to focus more on the text or whatever. But I think they're continuing to push the envelope. And we really just, I think this time next year, we're talking about how rudimentary text to video was and how it gave us what animation is 24 frames per second, I think. So like maybe it's giving us small kind of crappy GIFs or GIFs, however you're going to say it, that are like not even the same image. So there's a lot of artifacts that show up and disappear, which is kind of what you see today. I think a year from now, and I'd be curious what you guys think. I think we're looking at text to 24 frame per second, no artifact video.
Oh, absolutely.
We're missing somebody here today who would have been pushing us towards the video side of image generation.
It's true.
Aaron,
which is, to be fair, wasn't this topic. So yeah.
And we're talking about film tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Okay, good.
Yeah, that'll be super fun.
No, I'm super excited about that because I know nothing, so I'm just gonna be listening to Jimmy and everybody else.
So I think we sort of brushed through Canva. Thank you for bringing it up, Brian. But if I'm a business person trying to figure out like what do I do, I think I do Canva, because you can do slides, you can do what you showed, like the Instagram post. I mean, you can do a bunch of things that are plenty good, right?
And it gives you a non-text interface for editing the image. Like it started in a different world, so you have a lot more editing capabilities in Canva. Although I'm saying this, help me if I'm wrong, but that's what I see as the distinction between, say, using Midjourney to do something and Canva to do something. I can work in Canva because it's kind of a drag and drop editor for an image.
Right.
So I've been working
one of the
directly.
things I don't like about using Canva, because it's annoying. But that's because I know how to do it in other ways.
Really heavily in the last couple of weeks on this extremely detailed workshop slide deck, and I found myself, because my baseline is PowerPoint. That's what I know. I know how to develop in that, and so oddly enough, as much as I love the idea of having Canva, it's outside of my ecosystem. So I have to develop it there and then pull it back into my Google Drive or my SharePoint. So to me, it's easier to develop the PowerPoint deck and then just throw in some images that I've built somewhere else. I truly hope that's not the future. I hope that all the platforms will have equal playing field about image generation, so we don't have to do that. But who knows?
Well, look, I mean, look, these days we can send a text and throw a GIF into it immediately, right? Or some funny thing that like is the exclamation point on the point we're making back and forth with family or friends. So how quickly will you just be able to write a prompt in your text message, and instead of it going and grabbing a pre-created GIF, it just net new creates that new thing that's unique specifically to your conversation? Like, how far off are we really from that? It's literally the same thing. It's text to image. The only difference is it's so damn fast with the processors that this is happening now in your text stream.
Okay, entrepreneurial idea: singing telegrams, like the modern version of singing telegrams for your communications with family and friends.
I love it. Now that's something Aaron could have came in with a Hey Jen and stuff like that, right?
I heard that you were feeling ill, headache, fever, and the chills. I've come to help restore your pluck. Anyway, as Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So,
all right, take us home. Take us home, Jimmy.
Listen, I think this is fun. This is a good conversation. This made me laugh today. I needed this. I was feeling a little worn down after some flights and stuff like that, and didn't get enough sleep. So I think this was the pick me up I needed. So thanks for all the laughs today, guys, and it's a fun conversation. And just to think about where this is going. Think about where we were 12 months ago or 10 months ago, and figure out where we'll be in 10 months is like crazy. It's crazy to think about. And I want to give a quick plug too, Beth. You were the one that mentioned, just as we're rolling out, the podcast AI and Marketing. Is it called? What's it called?
Marketing AI Show.
The Marketing AI Show. I listened to it a little bit on the plane. Phenomenal. And I know you've plugged it a couple of times, but there was a really good one about, like, it was the whole story of how Elon Musk was like maybe 2-3 shows ago, as we're posting this on September 21st. Go listen to that, to anybody out there. That has nothing to do with images per se, but really, really cool show. And just appreciated the shout out for that, Beth, because I wouldn't really thought of that show. But they put together some good stuff for sure. Yeah. Okay, all right, that's it for today. Tomorrow we're talking about films and movies and all sorts of fun stuff, and I can't wait. Just look at Jimmy's background. You know he's ready. He's bringing the goods to the conversation and everything else. I can't wait to learn along with everybody else.
Hollywood.
All right, guys. I know we went over. I don't even care. Let's take it out. Here we go.
Happy Thursday.
Some days I just don't care if we hit the mark.
Aloha.